afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Tony Carroll. I'm the South Carolina State Manager and Chief Training Manager here at Security Title of Baltimore, and I'm going to be moderating our presentation today. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping items. You are in listen-only mode, but feel free to ask any questions or comment through the questions box of the GoToWebinar panel. And that GoToWebinar panel can be moved if you want to drag it, make it bigger, make it smaller. You can do that by hitting the arrows in the right corner that kind of point to each other. We will address all questions at the end. So again, use that questions box and we will address anything that you have. Today, I am super excited to have my really good friend Angela Saiz with us. She's with Capital Bank, and she's going to be talking today about how to simplify your banking experience. Just a little bit about Angela. She is the Senior Vice President of Fiduciary Banking at Capital Bank, and she focuses on providing white glove concierge banking service to the settlement services industry. Angela believes the title company's banking relationship is one that should be personalized to fit the needs of the client, and the products and services must provide flexibility, security, and timelessness. In addition to working in the title industry for nearly 15 years, she is a longtime member of the American Land Title Association. We work on a lot of committees together. She works on the membership and the MISMO and education committees. Angela understands the importance of supporting our industry. She is TIPAC Platinum contributor, and her favorite conference is Alta Advocacy, as well as mine too. Angela has built many relationships across the industry, enabling her to make meaningful connections for clients to help their day-to-day businesses beyond banking. Angela holds an MBA in marketing from the University of Phoenix and BSBA from Rutgers University. Angela loves to attend concerts, which I've been on a number of them with her, golf, travel, and watch her daughter participate in equestrian activities. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you, Tony, for having me, and thank you to Security Title of Baltimore for hosting this, and certainly appreciate it. Look forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, same here. It's always fun working with my industry friends. So in a changing market, it's a great time to look at what fees and services your bank is providing you with today. Angela, you've got a vast amount of experience in the title industry, as we talked about, and can help agents drive efficiency with your solutions. Can you tell me a little bit about Capital Bank and your role there?
Sure, absolutely. I joined Capital Bank 5 years ago. I had previously been with Require Real Estate Solutions and was looking for my next challenge and wanted to kind of learn a different industry. And the bank approached me and I said, well, I'm not a banker. What would you want to talk to me about? And the banking part was easy to learn. It's the relationships that have meant the most in this particular role with Capital Bank. It's been wonderful learning about the industry and the intricacies. It's constantly changing and evolving. I know that people will ask me questions about, when they hear what is RTP and some of the, other terms that they're hearing, but they're really not familiar with.
RTP?
So, I'm sorry?
RTP, what does that stand for?
It's Rapid Transfer Protocol. So it's just another way of moving money from one place to another. So, the industry is always changing and evolving, and so we are try to stay out ahead of it and do everything we can to protect our clients' escrow accounts as well as their operating and protect everything that they have with us. As far as my role, I am on the fiduciary banking team. We are a nationally accredited bank, so we are currently in 26 states, and so I have clients ranging, from Washington State all the way to Connecticut and all points in between. And we really just focus on the title and settlement industry, making sure opening up IOLTA accounts, escrows, and helping clients be efficient with their banking.
Which is, important. People don't really pay attention too much to their bank accounts or what their fees are. Sometimes you kind of just go along your daily day and not realize that. I've reconciled a lot of bank accounts in my time in the industry, and I see random crazy fees all the time. Sometimes their bank statements are not easy to read. They don't provide services. You can't call or wire room late. I know we've talked about this in our travels. What products and services do you offer to the settlement industry?
Sure, absolutely. I'll start off with just kind of the fees. So for the settlement services industry, we are a no-fee bank for title companies and real estate law firms, and that includes monthly maintenance fees. We don't have any wire fees. There's no incoming, outgoing wire fees, no monthly maintenance. We don't have stop check payment fees. We actually provide the check stock for our clients as well. And, it's interesting to me regarding the fees and the variable aspect of it with a number of banks. Oftentimes clients will say, well, you offer commercial lending at your bank, and, you offer residential home loans we offer, we have Capital Bank home loans as well. Can you send me this? Can you? And my answer is always, if you want great, customized, personalized service, absolutely. But as far as, promising to send somebody business, oftentimes people don't understand that the deposit teams at banks are very different and separate from the lending teams. And so if I were to look at someone and say, yes, let me send you some deals, it wouldn't be factual. And oftentimes 6 months later, I'll have a conversation with someone that's telling me that, well, this person said that they're going to send me business, and they may get a deal or two along with lots of fees, and then that business stops because they've now gone and sold to the next title company and promised them. And so that's just something that we don't offer at Capital Bank. My reputation matters more to me than the promise of a deal or two. But what we do offer is the great personalized service. In terms of products and services, I think it's important now that everyone has a little time to really dive into, what exactly is positive pay. So I find that everyone hears it, and it's been part of the best practices. You need to have positive pay, or an underwriter might tell them, do you have positive pay on your escrow account? Or ask them, yes, I have it. Positive pay isn't just some magic wand that you say, oh, I have positive pay and everything is going to be fine. It does involve a little bit of effort and work. So are you, well, Tony, I know you're very familiar with positive pay. So I guess I'll do the, what I would consider I'll do an abbreviated version, but positive pay, there's actually two forms. So positive pay, you can actually have positive pay for both ACH as well as checks. I find that, we're seeing more and more check fraud in the industry, where, the account numbers and routing numbers are just out. You got, title companies send thousands and thousands of checks. Lots of people see those checks. And so what positive pay is in regards to checks is that every check that you write, you would upload a file either through your software, title production software, if there's an integration at your bank, or if not, it's a very, very simple clicking a button generally, and sending a BAI2 file to your bank so that they have a record of the check number, the check amount, the payee, and the date of the check. Those 4 data points is what are being looked for. So when checks are presented to the bank for payment, if one of those data points does not match, you would receive an exception. And in that exception, you would have a decision to either pay it or return it. And the nice thing about that is you're catching it before it happens. So it's not a matter of having to close the account and start over. It's just you're preventing it before it happens. You
So
can
we
do the
had,
same thing. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
yeah, I was just saying, we had an agent that had somebody took a check out of the mail, and they were able to take the information and replace it with a different payee with different amounts. So in that type of case, is that something Positive Pay would have caught?
Absolutely, because, well, was the check coming to them or was sent from them?
It was sent from them. So they were sending out a check, proceed check or something along that line.
Right. So absolutely, that would have been caught through Positive Pay, because those data points, those four, if they changed the name and the amount, both of those would have, if they were using Positive Pay, would have said they don't match what was sent. So they would have received a notification and a copy of what was presented to us, and they would have been able to say, no, don't pay it, to prevent that. So that's a great example. Unfortunately, it happens all the time. I'm of the mindset, I just wish that people would, do good with what was given to them. Clearly, they're intelligent to be able to do these things, but why not do good with it is always my take on it. Positive Pay is also available for ACH, and this is the one, a lot of title companies, maybe you've heard this recently. I always like to give kind of real life examples, but recently I'm hearing a number of customers that will say, my client said they wired in proceeds, we haven't received it. And they're saying that they quote unquote wired it. I'm not going to say which big bank this is, but when people go to this big bank's online banking, it says send same day wire, and it has, and I'm making this number up, $50, a $50 fee maybe. And then it says next day wire, and it has a lower amount. Well, people often choose the next day because the verbiage says wire. It's not a wire, it's actually an ACH. And as you're aware, so many of our clients have ACH blocks on their accounts. What happens is by the time that, it's next day, quote unquote, which is often a couple of days, and then by the time it reaches us, it gets rejected. And then the bank that sent it often will not redeposit that for 3 to 5 days. And so at this point, some people don't always have the right amount just freely available, so they can go to settlement. So some of my clients have opted to remove ACH blocks from their accounts. And what this does is they get notified quicker, as far as, because they see it in their Positive Pay. They still don't accept it. They reject it, but a rejection will get back to the sender's account quicker than if it were just blocked. Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything we can do in today's world to prevent the fraudsters from hitting our accounts is definitely welcome.
Exactly. Kind of going back to, products and services, I think it's also important that in a banking relationship that you have someone that you can call, whether it is your relationship manager, whether it is knowing the wire room. At Capital Bank, we have a dedicated title support team to try to take, I call them the quarterback of title support, because any email or phone call to them, the email is monitored by 10 to 12 people at all time. So that way no one has to really wonder, who should I call if I can't remember how to issue a stop payment. I can't remember, just whatever. I need to create a template in online banking. We need to add a user, change a user, any of those things. It's just one simple email to a team that gets answered incredibly quick, just going to so many people. I think they actually have a contest to figure out who's going to respond the fastest. which makes it nice. We also have late wire hours. The Fed is staying open later. I don't know, this changed a couple of years ago, and as soon as the Fed stayed open later, we extended our wire hours. So our wire cutoff is 6 p.m. Eastern, and as long as the wire has been sent, we are going to make sure and stay until it gets out. We also don't batch our wires, which I think is an important question to ask as well. Sometimes banks that don't do a lot of wires will wait until they get a group of them to send them all at once. And so you might think that you're sending a wire, at 10 a.m. and that bank may not even get to it until, later in the afternoon. So that's important to kind of ask as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
And Nat, I've seen you talk about your customer service. We've been out together, and 6, 7 o'clock at night, I see you always paying attention to your customers calling you. So very attentive for sure.
That I'm no different than you are, Tony.
I think it's our work ethic.
Right. Well, I think that it's, I've been on the other side as well. And as have you, as a business owner, I think that we sit in a unique seat for our clients in understanding that, their needs are important, and you want to definitely feel that you are valued and taken care of. So, and what we do is so important to so many people in this country. Even going back to what happened at the beginning of the pandemic, we were deemed essential, and we are absolutely essential. And, title insurance isn't glamorous, but, it's so very important to our country, to, homeowners, that people that aren't, this is a very, very large purchase. And for us, title insurance, it's what we do every day. But being able to sit, and explain to someone how you're protecting their property rights is so very important.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, for sure. We are very passionate about this. And, when you're in the middle of a closing, you need an answer right away. So that's the responsiveness is a great service to have. What makes you different from other banks in the industry?
I'll start with the personalized service. Not a lot of people can send a text message to their banker at 10 p.m. and get a response. And I'm not the only person that at the bank that is that way. We are we're very responsive to our customers. We are very, in terms of, we offer the late wire hours for 6 p.m. We have a dedicated team. We also have all of the fraud prevention tools available, the positive pays. We try to make banking easy, so you kind of bank anywhere, anytime, from any device. So, for example, our positive pay, we're constantly evolving and changing, and we listen to our customers, and they wanted to be able to approve or reject positive pay from their mobile device. And so our product team went to work on that, and we are rolling that out. We're actually testing it next week, so that's very exciting. We also offer mobile deposits for checks. So, for example, a lot of times on personal accounts, you can take a picture of a check and it goes into your account, but there are limits, and we don't have that for our title companies, as far as they can actually deposit checks mobily. You don't have to wait and go back to an office and put it through a check scanner. Certainly don't have to go to a branch. With us, if you need a cashier's check, any signer on the account can actually, send the request to our title support team, and we will execute it same day if received by 3 p.m. Eastern. And we actually send it out to either the client or the receiver if they'd like us to send it directly to the receiver on our dime. So that's a nice, benefit as well.
For
Something
sure.
that we do that goes above and beyond. I'll give another example. So whenever the Fed is open, we are open. So let's say, New Year's Eve was the 31st, the Fed was open this past year. And so our wire room stays open until 6 p.m. It's just always the case. 4th of July, a couple of years ago, was on I believe a Saturday. The Fed was actually open that Friday though. They were, and so one of our clients didn't realize that and didn't check to make their positive pay decision. And it's very unlike them. Our team gets to learn that, the team knows the patterns of our clients, and that was very uncharacteristic. And so we reached out, were able to get a hold of them, and they did in fact want that. It was a $191,000 check that was made out to a trust, and there was a little nuance in the trust in the payee name. And so you also don't ever want to return something that should be paid, and so
Right.
we recognized that, and the team went above and beyond to make sure that the customers, not only account was protected, but also their reputation, in that it could have been very easy for a bank to say, well, they didn't decision it, just return it. When in
Right.
that instance, it needed to be paid. So
Those are all great differentiators. And can you tell me a little bit about integrations you have with title production softwares, earnest money
sure,
deposits,
absolutely.
reconciliations?
Yeah, so we are fully integrated with Qualia as far as positive pay, auto upload, and also reconciliation. We have some, I guess, limited integration with Resware. We are working on some others. We are fully integrated with Rynoh. So with the exception of Qualia, most of our clients that are with another title production software that are using Rynoh, we would quote unquote be fully integrated with them, if that makes sense, because we're integrated with Rynoh and it flows through Rynoh as long as they're using Rynoh and SoftPro or Rynoh and Resware. We also have, I would say, pretty much all of the earnest money deposit integrations. We're with payments.io, BankShot, Gain, Earnest, and probably, forgive me if I've forgotten any, but those are fair. Oh, Zachem, I'm so sorry, Zachem as well. So we are integrated with those, and we also, on the accounting side, separate from the title production, we've got a very robust QuickBooks integration also.
That's great. We just had Rynoh on our webinar last month. So if anybody's interested in learning more about that, they can always check our video library too. Those are great integrations. Definitely help our agents be a lot more efficient, not having to go to separate websites. So we can all do that right through your software, which is amazing.
Yes.
So, agents often tell me their bank is good enough. They're fine. They're working fine because they just don't like to switch banks. It is a lot of work, right? You have to switch banks, open, close, make sure everything gets cleared. How does your team streamline that process to make it easier for them?
So we definitely try to do as much of the heavy lifting. I know the ideal quote unquote time to switch software, production software, is to switch banks is when you're switching production software, because you're, the best practice, you need to open new escrow accounts anyway. So, that's often a great time. But when you have the time to do it, like now is also a great time, in the sense that we do streamline everything. We do a lot of things via DocuSign. And then in terms of like the heavy lifting, going through and helping get your team integrated and working with them to develop wire templates to make things more efficient is one of the services that we offer. And it's ultimately, I don't know that it's ever the greatest or best time, but when you're really looking at cost savings, and are you getting out of your bank what was promised to you? And at the end of the day, if you're paying fees, you really, and not if you're paying fees, then you and not getting great service, it really is time to take a look. So it's a pain in the beginning, but everyone is happy after it happens, especially when they have, when you need the bank. Another example is when everything did start back in 2020. I can happily say that not one person reached out to me and requested a PPP loan that didn't get it in the first round at Capital Bank. We were identified nationally for doing a great job and taking care of not only our clients, but our community as a whole. We weren't only speaking to account holders. We were working with anyone that was looking for help. So that is something I'm very proud of.
Including myself, you were able to help. We have a small business as well, and you were able to help us get that loan as well.
Well, I wouldn't have said that, Tony, but yes. Yes, we were. So that's important. So you don't know how important that banking relationship is until you really need it, and you need someone to answer the phone. And that's the importance of making sure that you have that with whomever you're banking with. That's what I always say. If you don't have at least one person's cell phone number where you're storing millions of dollars in an escrow account, then you might want to evaluate that relationship.
100%.
An 800 number doesn't count.
Agreed. I know, and we've worked together on a lot of different accounts, and everybody's been very happy. So I'm excited that and appreciate your devotion. Believe it or not, our time is coming to an end here. I'd like to, do you have any last minute comments that you'd like to make?
No, I think if anyone has any questions, feel free to follow up. Even if I'm not in a state that you happen to be doing business, I'm happy to jump on a call and help you, whatever you need. Always available.
Perfect, perfect. Well, at this time, we are going to open up the floor. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box. Banking, even title. Angela and I were just out at Alta Advocacy lobbying for our industry about the Fannie Mae waiver of title insurance. And the good news is, as of Friday, we won that battle, and Fannie Mae is no longer pursuing that. So as well as being an amazing banker, we're also here for any industry questions and full advocates for our industry. Well, I'm not seeing any questions coming in, but your contact information is on the screen. All the information is there, services. So please feel free to reach out to Angela with any questions you may have. And next month, we appreciate you joining today, but next month we actually have 2 amazing webinars going on. On September 7th, we're going to have SoftPro on. David Proctor is going to go over the integration, the security title integration with SoftPro. And then on September 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got a 1-hour presentation with Bill Sloboda. And his presentation's on purple cows and black boots, the new rules for customer experience in the title and escrow industry. So we hope to see you on next month's webinar. Appreciate you joining us this month. Thank you for Angela for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, Tony. And those, I love both David and Bill. Those should be great webinars next month. You're bringing in some talent. I don't know. I thank you, Tony, for having me.
I appreciate it. You're a rock star in the industry as well. So thanks, everybody, and have a great day.
Bye, everyone.